multi-step problem, solving a multi-step problem. And I don't really want to tell you how to do it. I'm just going to see what makes the most amount of sense. And so what I have here is I have 2 times the quantity 3x minus 1 plus 3.5, and that's going to be equal to 2/5 of x minus 6 minus the quantity of 6x plus 2.7. I just want to take a look at what we have here. Before we do anything, what I do know is I have an unknown, and when that unknown is multiplied by 3 and take away 1, oh goodness me, this video is making me sick already. And then I add 3.5, it has to be equal to the same unknown, which has 2/5 of that value, minus 6 times the unknown plus 2.7. There's lots going on here. So let's just take a quick look and say, all right, well, let's just tidy this up. The first thing I can do is I realize I have 2 groups of 3x minus 1. And if you're not sure what 2 groups of 3x minus 1 looks like, just draw a picture. Here's 3x minus 1. And here's 3x minus 1. And so what does that actually look like? It actually looks like I have 6x's minus 2. And that's because of the distributive property. So I really have 6x minus 2. Now, that's where the parentheses end. I still have this 3.5. So I'm just going to write down plus 3.5. And that's on the left-hand side of my equation. On the right-hand side of my equation, let's see what I have. Well, I have a 2/5 x. And now it's taking away, it says take away this quantity. So if I take away 6x, it's going to be minus 6x. And I'm also going to take away a positive 2.7. Well, taking away a positive 2.7 really just means minus 2.7. All right? Now, that was step 1. So what was the very first thing I did? I removed my parentheses. I removed my parentheses using distributive property. And now I need to figure out what am I going to do here? Well, I have some variables. I have a 6x. I have a 2x minus 5 and a negative 6x. And then I have some constants. I have this, and I have this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep all of my variables on one side. But now I'm going to combine these. If I have 3.5 and a negative 2, I can combine that, and that will add to 1.5. Here, I can do 6x minus 2/5 x. Well, I know that 6 minus 1 is 5, and 2/5 is less than 1, so it should be 5 and some change. So it's actually, if you do 6x minus 2/5 x, you're really going to get 5 and 5/5 x minus 0 and 2/5 x, and that will give you 5 and 3/5 x. All right, so if you didn't know how to do that, that's how you do it. So it's going to be 5 and 3/5 x. And then this constant just comes along with me. I want to point out something. If you really wanted to, you could say, what is 3/5? 3/5 is not John Cena. What is 3/5 as a decimal? And if you just typed in 3 divided by 5, which is 3/5, you would get 6/10. So we could change 5 and 3/5 into 5 and 6/10. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it as is for now. Now, once again, I have my constants, and I have my unknown terms. I'm going to move all my unknown terms to one side. Oh, so what was number 2? Number 2, combine like terms. So now I'm going to move, my third step is I'm going to move my variables to one side. And when I do that, 6x minus 5 3/5 x gives me 2/5 x. This will still come down. 5 3/5 x minus 5 3/5 x is 0. And this comes down. So number 3 moves unknown quantities by adding the opposite. To both sides. And now, if you take a look, I only have one variable, one unknown term, but I still have two constants. So now I'm going to move my constants to the other side, and I'm going to do that, goodness me, by, oh, curses, by adding the opposite. Minus 1.5 equals negative 1.5. Once again, nothing happened here, so I get 2/5 x. 1.5 minus 1.5 is 0. Negative 2 7/10 minus 1 5/10 is a negative 4.2. I almost made a computational error there. Alright, so 4. Move constants away from unknowns by adding the opposites to both sides. Alright, we are almost there. Now, I have a host of strategies for dealing with a fractional coefficient. You may want to just divide. What on earth just happened there? You may want to just divide by 2/5, and that's certainly possible. And because 2/5 x divided by 2/5 is just x. And negative 4.2 divided by 2/5 is the same as negative 4.2 times 5/2. Let's see. And I know that I don't have my calculator on, so that's why I'm doing this by hand. And 2.1, well, 2 times 5 is 10, and 1/10 times 5 is negative 5/10. So it's negative 10 halves. 10 and a half. 10.5. And so number 5. I see what's going on. Number 5 is to divide by the coefficient of x, of your variable, your unknown. Your unknown. Remember, the coefficient is an adjective describing how many unknowns you have. And in this case, 2/5 of the unknown is equal to negative 4.2. Alright, so those are your 5 steps. That's it. It's a long example, but it's worthwhile. Watch it more than once. Stop it where you need to. Figure out what we're doing. And once again, remove the parentheses, combine the like terms, move the unknown quantities by adding the opposite to both sides, move the constants away from the unknown by adding the opposite to both sides, and then divide by the coefficient of your unknown. By the way, at the very end, you could always check your answer too.